What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Wanish here, back at you with another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today we're going to be going over the players to watch in the Bucs Week 7 matchup against the Detroit Lions. And look, this could be a potential NFC Championship preview, potentially. Both these teams seem bound to maybe meet each other once again later down the line. But for now, they're going to battle each other on Monday Night Football in Detroit. And look, obviously a big matchup, right? Bucs are coming off a big win against San Francisco. The Lions are coming off of a tough loss against Kansas City. And not only did they lose the game, but they lost their star defensive player, Brian Branch, due to a suspension for a fight sort of at the end of the game there against Kansas City. So there's a lot of storylines heading into this game, and both teams have played pretty well, up until this point. And the Buccaneers are playing really good football right now. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But with that being said, let's get right into the players to watch, because it's an interesting list. And I think it could be something that really determines the game, some of these guys, right, how they perform. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about Baker Mayfield. Look, obviously, I know it's kind of a cop-out to say the quarterback's the player to watch and this and that, but the Lions secondary right now is in shambles. It simply is. And they're missing pretty much all their secondary, whether it's to their starting secondary, whether it's to injuries or, like I said, the Brian Branch suspension there. So they're going to be playing shorthanded, right? And I think that's something where Baker Mayfield, if he's given the time, I think he's going to be able to take advantage of. And look, Jared Goff's on the other side, right? And Goff has had a lot of success against Todd Bowles' defenses. So this game could be pretty high scoring. And Baker's going to have to be at his best. He's going to have to protect the football, which he's done a great job of this season, but he's going to have to do that again this week. And I think whoever ends up winning the turnover battle is going to end up winning the game. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. And I think that Mayfield having a big game will go a long way in the Bucs winning, because I don't see a way that the Bucs win if Mayfield is like, he was okay out there. Like, no, I think he's got to keep playing at the level he's been. And I know that's a lot to ask, but he's been playing at MVP level right now, and I think he's got to keep that up. And with the return of the next guy we're going to mention, most likely, and the banged up Lions secondary, I think it's a pretty good recipe for Baker Mayfield to continue that success. So we will see about that. But I did mention the player, right? And we're going to be talking about Mike Evans. And again, sort of the same reasons, right? Detroit's secondary is so banged up, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of attention going Mike Evans' way, right? No doubt about it. I definitely think that they're going to be paying attention and looking to stop him. But at the same time, I think, Mike Evans wants to get to the 1,000 yards again this season, right? Break the record. But also, he missed the last couple of games. I think he wants to establish himself back out there, right? So I think he's a pretty important player to watch. The Bucs are surely happy to have him back in the lineup and healthy. So I do think that they're going to want to get him the football. I know Detroit's going to want to stop him from getting the football, but hopefully the Bucs can figure out some ways to do that. And the last player on offense we're going to mention is right tackle Charlie Heck. And the reason for this is, well, the Bucs played the Lions last season without Luke Gedeke, and it didn't really go so well. The Bucs won the game, and that's all that matters, I guess. But first half, it did not go so well for right tackle Justin Skule, who is now, I Bleav, with the Minnesota Vikings. But they replaced him with Charlie Heck this season. But Aiden Hutchinson in that first half, I Bleav, had 3 sacks. It was not pretty, right? It was a game-wrecking first half from Aiden Hutchinson. And to the Buccaneers' credit, they were able to slow Aiden Hutchinson down a little bit in that second half. And like I said, ended up winning the football game. But Aiden Hutchinson's still going to be out there, right? And Luke Gedeke is not yet again. So it's going to be up to Charlie Heck. And look, if Aiden Hutchinson dominates Charlie Heck again, it could be tough sledding for the Bucs, offense. They're going to have to find ways to get the ball out of Mayfield's hands quickly and find other ways to attack this Detroit defense. Because if you hold on to the football and Charlie Heck's struggling over there a little bit, who knows what can happen. So Heck has been fine, right, for the most part for the Buccaneers. But again, that's a really tough matchup against one of the best defensive ends in the entire NFL, and Aiden Hutchinson, arguably the best, if you talk to some people. So it's a tough matchup, but it's a pretty important one here for the Buccaneers. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, going to be talking about Yaya Diaby. And look, he had a pretty strong game against San Francisco. I Bleav he had 2 sacks, probably his best game of the season. He's been up and down this season, I would say. He's had some moments where he shined, but he's also had some moments where you'd like to see a little bit more out of him. And I think that's sort of this Buccaneers pass rush in general. But Diaby, I think, is such an important piece to what they're doing. And if he's on and he's on his game, I think the Bucs pass rush just becomes that much better. So Yaya Diaby, I think, is definitely somebody to pay attention to. Other guy to pay attention to, I think, is going to be Jamel Dean, or really the Bucs secondary in general, because Amon-Ra St. Brown is out there for the Lions, right? And Amon-Ra St. Brown is a really, really good football player who the Lions are going to look to target, right? They're going to, just like the Bucs are going to be looking to get the ball into Mike Evans' hands, while the Lions are going to be looking to get the ball into Amon-Ra's hands. So you're going to have to be able to find a way to stop him. And Jamel Dean came back last week, had a really strong game, had a sack, a strip sack, and the interception on Mac Jones. He's going to have another strong game. He's played well this season, right? Like, he's been pretty good for the Bucs so far this season, and hopefully he can continue that against a pretty tough Lions offense. But we will see what happens. But those are my players to watch. Let me know who you guys think on offense, defense. Do you agree with my list, or do you have a list of your own? Very curious to hear what you guys think about that. But thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and go Bucs.